Run it. This one the hit, yo. Ladies, Sarojani. Bless up everyone. This is Jordan Ben from Jamaica here representing for the host, Lady Sarojani with the Caribbean Connection Show. Hey, Power 93.5 FM CHMR 11. I'm another criminal, so get on your searching. But let me tell you though, if you never know, I'm an island man with an African culture. No drugs, no in my bag.
When we dancing, hey, you are my king, I'm your queen. We don't let nobody in between.
Live from Toronto, this is DJ Eruption. You're listening to Sarojani from Caribbean Connections. Peace out.
Then you hold my bumper and grind, slow the bass.
Hi, this is Vinod from New York City, and you're listening to Sarojani on the Caribbean Connections.
Your bumper is a magnet. I stick on like a magnet.
Yeah, it's magnetic. Join Sarojani on Caribbean Connections, Thursdays at 1. Walk through the sands with poetry from our great leaders and academics. Jive with us to soca, reggae, chutney, and calypso. Get your current cricket results, meet special guests, and more. Every Thursday, 11:30 Eastern, 1 p.m. Newfoundland time.
Hey, my wonderful folks. Welcome, and hello, good afternoon, dear friends. Welcome to Caribbean Connections. Hey, a warm welcome to all of you listening on the island of Newfoundland and Labrador, in Toronto, Winnipeg, Regina, Saskatoon, Calgary, Vancouver, Maple Ridge, and on the Sunshine Coast in beautiful British Columbia, Quebec, crossing over to New York. A special shout out to Nalini and Vinod and the Atchisons in Connecticut, Washington, D.C., to the Faltines, Texas, California, going even further to New Delhi, India, Berlin, Germany, Egypt, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, the Netherlands, and to you, my brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, in Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Kitts and the Nevis, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the British Virgin Islands, Barbados, Belize, the Bahamas, and to all of you whom I haven't mentioned, welcome. You know we still love you all, and I am the host of this awesome show. My name is Sarojani. However you got here, thank you so much for carving out some time in your day to listen to my program. But hey, we have an awesome guest on today, but I'm going to tell you more about her. So let's open up this segment with Temperature, and this is Sean Paul.
The girl them skill arty. Thunderball, some give it to, some give it to, some give it to our girls. 5,040,000 naughty shorty. Baby girl, all my girls. Thunderball say, well, I'm on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Oh, Because the girl them broke out on the floor. From you don't wanna work this performer. From you don't wanna man where can't turn you on. Girl, make I see you when them upon ya. Can't stand for the long, nah. Eat no yam, no steamed fish, no green banana. But down in Jamaica, we give it to you hot like a sauna. Well, on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Oh, bumper exposed and girl, you got the chest out. But you know we ain't soft, cause girl, you impress out. And if it is out of me, if it is out, cause I got the remedy for make it stress out. Me have a flat to become a God bless out. And girl, if you want it, you have to confess out. And a life where we need set speed, if it is too much chest out. Well, on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Girl, know some crazy now. This straight of it and a Bridget and Flavour show. Time for we make baby now. So stop ball like you, I get shady, yo. Woman, don't play me now, cause I'm a fits and fat, not greedy, yo. My loving is the way to go. My loving is the way to go. Well, on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. When they roll with a player like me, with a brother like me, girl, there is no other. No need to talk it right here, just park it right here, keep it undercover. Come and love how you fit in your blouse and you fat in your jeans, I'm a wild discover. Everything about you, baby girl, can you hear when me utter? Well, I'm on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom. Because the girl them broke out on the floor. From you don't wanna work this performer. From you don't wanna man where can't turn you on. Girl, make I see you when them upon ya. Can't stand for the long, nah. Eat no yam, no steamed fish, no green banana. But down in Jamaica, we give it to you hot like a sauna. Well, on the way, the time cold, I wanna be keeping you warm. I got the right temperature for shelter you from the storm. Hold on, girl, I got the right tactics to turn you on. And girl, I wanna be the papa, you can be the mom.
All right, folks, welcome, welcome. I am so excited. I have the amazing Chelsea, aka Mermaid, in the studio here today. And guys, I can't tell you what a great show we have. Chelsea, welcome, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me back.
My pleasure, my love. I think the last time we did a live show was in 2019, right?
I can't believe how many years it's been. Wow.
I know, but we did do one during COVID, and that was, I guess, virtually. But here we are, live.
Back in the studio. I love your ambiance.
Oh, thank you.
It's beautiful in here. It's a very familiar space, and amber is my favorite lighting, so
oh
thank
my
you for
gosh,
that.
yeah. So you tell folks what the room is like today.
She's got the lights down low and a really funky, sexy light going, and I feel at home, and it's really nice. I love it.
All for you,
Thank
my
you.
darling, all
Thank
for
you.
you. So guys, hey, listen, we have Chelsea, aka Mermaid. This is a glow wild, eat bold, and flow free show. Chelsea doesn't cook, she infuses every dish with intention. She fuels the body and nourishes the soul. She keeps it spicy, defying age with her holistic cuisine. Flavour Junction, her company, blends our favorite international dishes, and we're going to be talking more about this with age-defying wellness. This is Chelsea's Spicy Mermaid Way, where holistic cuisine meets seductive, enigmatic artistry.
Are you ready?
Chelsea, welcome again. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. It's so good to be home. I'm enjoying the weather so much, and there is nothing that makes me smile more than being able to come and see your smile.
Oh, thank you, my darling. And we were in touch because you were in Ontario for quite a few months, weren't you?
I was Quebec as well. I spent a lot of time in Quebec as well. Yeah,
Right
it's
on.
been a lot of journey on the road.
Oh my gosh, and we're going to get into all of that as we proceed with our conversation. But let's start from the beginning. I want to really thank you for taking time off your busy schedule. I know you've got a lot to do, and after being gone for quite a few months, coming back to Newfoundland, I think you came back, was it last week to Newfoundland?
I've been back about 2 weeks now.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you're a little bit more settled.
I'm settled, yeah.
So let's start at the beginning, just to give us a little glimpse for those who can't remember from 6 years ago. Where were you born? Tell us a little bit about mom and dad, just a little opening about yourself, and we're going to get into our conversation.
All right, I've got some very temporary roots in Calabogie, Ontario. It's a place many people have never heard of, not to be confused with Caledonia, Ontario.
Right, yeah.
I was born in Ottawa because that's where the major hospital was. My parents were living off the grid in the sticks. They weren't together very long. We were only out there till I think I was about 10 months old, and they separated. And my mom brought me down to the Hamilton, Burlington area, and Burlington is where I've spent most of my life until moving to Newfoundland in 2015, which has totally changed my soul. And I now call this island home, and I doubt that I ever won't.
Yeah, and I think you miss the ocean, you miss the nature, right?
The nature of the people,
Yeah.
and it's the downtown core that has my heart. I just love to be out on the streets talking to everyone and enjoying all the tourism and just in particular the neighborhood. Shout out to Gower Street. In particular the Gower Street neighborhood, like my very first day in town began at Holiday Meats area, and I really have made a huge effort to maintain being on that block in that area, and the people there have touched my heart in so many ways. Yeah.
And this is so familiar to you.
It feels like I was born and raised here, and people are always really shocked to hear that I don't have any family out here.
I know.
But I don't have a lot of family out on the mainland.
Yeah.
And so, I came out here after my daughter grew up and moved out as an adult and went on to her own journey. I said, okay, well, it's time for me.
I know.
Where do I want to be? The world is my oyster.
Now, what did mom and dad do?
So my father was a bartender for a long time, and eventually, now we weren't really in touch most of my life, but I later connected and heard the story. He went on to work at the liquor store eventually and retired, but he was mainly living off the land and is more interested in being in the forest with the animals than around people.
Oh my goodness.
And my mother ended up going to law school when I was 4 years old, so
Wow.
I more or less grew up on that side of town with her lawyer colleagues were a big influence on me as a young girl.
Yeah.
And then I left home really young, so I wanted to find a place to sort of establish my new family, if you will, and that wasn't a feeling I was experiencing in Ontario.
All right. Now, you actually left home at 11. That is quite young.
Yeah,
Chelsea,
well,
huh?
my mom did an incredible job of teaching me to be really empowered and self-sufficient in a way that most parents don't teach their children. And so I think she was preparing me for the world in her mind, but she was also preparing me to be very fearless and disobedient.
Oh, here we go.
And with one parent going to school full time and then working full time, and when you first start practicing law, you're in the office, you're not at home, right? And so I had a pretty lonely childhood. She was really, really busy, so I was very excited about life. I wasn't a sad little girl. I was really excited. I wanted to go see the world, and so that's what I did.
And so you did, and something marvelous happened happened when you were just 14 years old. Tell us about that.
I strategized getting pregnant with my daughter very intentionally, much to her father's dismay. We had a very short relationship. It really wasn't the love of that relationship. Was more, my juvenile mind at the time, thinking like, I'm going to have a baby. That is the plan. I was always very certain about what I wanted to do and could execute these goals effortlessly. So I left home and established myself in all the ways underage people do when they're misbehaving.
Yeah. How did you manage to raise the baby?
I had a girlfriend that I knew who was older. She was 23, I think, and I gave her some money and told her to go apply for her ID again. And so I took her real ID and just used that as my ID. So that's how I ended up getting my first place.
Yes.
And, I was on the other side of the track there behavior-wise a little bit.
Yeah. Well, it happens. It happens.
But, that was preparing me for my future in the stripping industry, because I was able to meet anybody, anywhere, anytime, and understand how to deal with that experience, which came in really handy, right?
How did you get into the industry, Chelsea?
I was already hanging around in strip clubs. I was hanging around a lot of nightclubs. That whole scene was my life at the time. And so because I was already interested in females at a really young age, I think that plays a big role in some of the decision-making process that I had. So, I go into the strip club, and back then, early 90s, the dancers were really, really impressive. Like, they were Playboy models. They were very impressive women. So I was so razzle-dazzled before I even became a mom that, as soon as I did become a mom and was ready to, get my fitness-focused mind in check, I went straight to the strip club and got myself a job because I wanted to be surrounded by beautiful women. Like, who doesn't want to be surrounded by beautiful women?
Oh, absolutely. Right? So you were inspired
I was
by
really
these
inspired.
women.
And I was a dancer. Like, I did go to a lot of dance classes as a child. Like, my mom had me in every class under the sun.
Okay.
So it was like jazz, lyrical, ballet, acro, hip-hop, like anything you can think of, I had taken that class. So, I was pretty excited about getting up on stage. I didn't understand mentally how absolutely insane it was for a young child of that age. It didn't make any sense to me. And you know why it wasn't making sense to me? Because guess who I was listening to? Artists like Petra. I was very influenced by Petra's first album. And so this is what I was listening to at a young age with no supervision. So I didn't understand how wild it was for a preteen to be jumping up on a table in high heels and dancing. And, this is what I thought I wanted to do.
But how did you get the clothing, the shoes? How did you know what to put together?
I just didn't care. I had this really carefree attitude, and so that's why when I left home, like, I wasn't scared or intimidated about the world. I was obviously very naive. I had absolutely no idea the dangers that, lurked ahead of me, which I was very, very lucky in never having happened to me. I really don't know how. There's been a guardian angel looking after me all these years, for sure.
I know.
But by the time I got on stage, like, I already had stripper friends. Right? And I was very meticulous in playing the role of the character on that ID. So I had established friends in these clubs who really believed that I was this person on the ID. So they were, I guess they must have thought I was 23, when I was like 14 to 16. So they were like, here's some heels, like, here, throw this on. And, I was already dressing really inappropriately back then as well, because I was very influenced. And music, I think music is really the point of the discussion, because I didn't have any parents or brothers and sisters, no cousins, no one was around like watching my back. I was listening to music, and I was really lucky that the early 90s music, like TLC for example, were teaching me how to think as a young woman, and their lyrics were very intelligent, and I was lucky for that.
You actually called the 90s the golden era. Why are you calling it that?
I think anyone who has a lot of experience in strip clubs, even if they haven't been in a strip club for, like, let's say the last 20 years, but, they're in their 50s or 60s and they went many years ago, the 90s, maybe even the 80s, but that would be before my time, would be considered the golden era because the economy was booming. The economy was booming. Rock and roll was a big focus, and rock and roll has always been strippers and rock and roll. Like, you can't have one without the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so because of that, the women were having a really good experience as dancers. A lot of the exploitation and neglect that's come over the years with the evolution of society in general, but obviously the strip club industry as well, wasn't really taking place back then. It was a lot of sisterhood and showmanship. You know, and so it was respected as an art and craft, and you know, and strippers were being treated like they were celebrities. I mean, a lot of them were. A lot of them were, you know, in music videos and acting and modeling, and Playboy was a huge thing.
Wow.
You know, and so that's kind of changed over the years, and I don't necessarily know exactly why that is, but it really has changed dramatically. So when I was a little girl, like, emphasis on little, I'm looking up to these like beasts of performers, you know, who, you know, own properties and boats and had went to university and were really successful women because they were being very supported. And I think as the support dwindled over the years, like everything changed, and that's when the stereotype kind of became a little bit more true almost. I remember saying that, like, the first 10 years of my experience, like, the stereotype wasn't even really true, but eventually it, like, they almost kind of grew into society's judgment of the work, I think, in some ways.
Well, how long have you been dancing now, Chelsea?
I think it's been 27 years
No
with like
way.
a moderate 5-year hiatus, but even during the 5 years, like,
Wow.
I was still known to get mad at a boyfriend and go, I'm going away for the week.
My darling, you still look like 25, and
Thank
we're gonna
you.
get into the food
Let's
part
talk
of
about
this.
it.
But for now, like, I want us to get a little glimpse into the erotic dance scene and what it's all about, because you know there's a lot of misconceptions out there.
That's the word.
And you know, I want to, you know, this is a good segue to talk about drugs and alcohol and trafficking too, because
big issues.
This is what's really bringing the industry down. So how do you compare it then? And you were sort of mixed up in all of this too, so whatever you're comfortable with, tell us what happened then and what's happening today. How do you see things?
So I can't speak to the 80s and 90s, but at the very end of the 90s, it certainly didn't feel like there was a strong trafficking presence in the clubs. And then all of a sudden, in the early 2000s, things took a dramatic turn. And I almost want to credit some of that to the shift of music, because pop culture shifted dramatically. Things changed really fast. And so, like, pimping became very glorified in music, and the music that was doing that became very mainstream. So all of a sudden that was reaching a lot of people it wasn't previously reaching, and so that obviously played a huge role in what was happening at the clubs. So there was a tremendous issue from, I almost want to say 2001, I don't know if I'm accurate, you know, right around when the Twin Towers went down, you know, that hit the economy and the clubs hard. There was a big impacting time, and it got really scary, like in the upscale, well-operated, well-managed clubs. And like, you know, I've talked to you about in the past, every club has a different club culture. Not every club is the same. So even in the clubs that were doing a really good job of, you know, running a professional operation, the dancers were like starting to pimp each other. It became really cool and popular for like cliques of girls to be what they call bumping each other and stuff.
No way.
Yeah, and what happened was over time that created a situation where now, even to this day, although I will say that there's been a huge improvement. I'm not sure what that looks like on the, you know, policing side of things, but like it's not as dangerous as it used to feel in the clubs, which is great.
Right.
There was a 10-year period of time
Were there
where I was scared, like I had to really pay attention to what was going on
did
around me.
you get some of these girls coming up
Yeah,
to you?
they would try to like put me on. They would come and ask me questions, and it's funny because as I get older, they don't realize I'm older, right? Like I am still kind of playing the role of a 20-year-old in a lot of ways until they hear me talk, and or maybe have seen me on stage, because I play a lot of different genres of music, and that often identifies my skill set at some point for them. But when I'm new in a club, or they think I'm new because I haven't been in that particular club for 4 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever, because I've now worked the whole entire circuit mainly. they'll try to come over and basically just become my friend. And what they'll do is just kind of like teach you their ways and ploy you with drugs and alcohol to recruit you. And they don't do it in like a forced kidnapping manner. Although, hey, that could happen down the road if you were to decide to be social with those types of people, right? Like, I just keep my distance. Yeah. But they underestimate what, like, the maturity level that I have until they spend some time talking to me.
So were they, as you call it, pimping each other for other people?
Yeah, it
like
was wild. It was a wild time. So, like, I stopped dating within the community for a really long time and lost my interest in women to some degree. I've always been interested in men and women, mainly equal amounts. But there was a time when I was involved with the dancers quite freely, and then it grew into me taking a step back and being very distant from friendships with them, let alone any kind of romantic activity with them, because you just never knew who was really being your friend or who was faking it, right? So it was a dark time in the business. And so now we've kind of grown past that, you know, dark time, if you will, for about 10 years during the early 2000s. And so women are starting to be friends again, and dancers are starting to collaborate again, and there's this sisterhood that's like ever so slowly kind of like rekindling and coming back, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. So I'm really excited about the future of the business now.
Listen, I mean, I know we've talked off air, and you've been through a lot, as you just said, with some of these girls who you thought could be your friend, and then you had to take a step back.
Tough.
Now you started dancing in Whitby.
Whitby, Ontario was my very first club that I danced at.
Oh my, is that club still around?
It is still around.
No
and you know what's
way.
so funny? I always make this joke to people. I have like this weird connection with my first club, almost the way, and I think it's fair to say most women, I'm not sure if men feel this way, and I don't know if all women do, but I'm just guessing, how we sort of have this fondness of the person we lost our virginity to.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I always have to go back to this club, and there's like no reason for it, but I'll just like, if I'm in the Toronto area, because it's just outside of the GTA, I will often prioritize going back. It's been the same manager all this time.
What?
But this year he retired, and I had this huge sense of loss, even though I don't work there full time, and I really hadn't been working there. I would just go pop in one night every like 5 years or something, maybe 3 years, and give them a hug and work one shift. But sort of I had advanced past my baby stripper club, if you will, right? But recently I went back, and because there's a new manager, or maybe this happened before he came in, I don't know exactly what the timing was, they've just recently like upgraded the club, which is something the whole industry in Canada really needs to start thinking about right now, and it's hurting the reputation of the industry that a lot of clubs haven't kind of like stepped it up, right? And they have a new stage and new lighting and amazing DJs, 3 incredible DJs, which I've actually never seen in one operation. And my experience just before I flew out here now blew my mind wide open. So I'm going to start spending some more time there, and it's really cool after all these years.
So when you said they've upgraded the club, you mean they've made some renovations?
Yeah,
it's
and it
better?
just makes you feel like such a beautiful woman. Like, to men, heads up on this. If you want a woman to get comfortable, make sure the lighting's good.
Awesome.
Because I
Like
mean,
in here.
right? Like, how do you feel when you're in good lighting? Good lighting makes women feel really good about themselves.
Absolutely.
And so obviously it inspires us to perform harder and more often, and in the end we have, you know, more sales. This is the whole name of the game, right?
So do the dancers have a say in the lighting, or is what the club
it's really different.
goes?
Like I said, it's just every club has its own unique culture, and so the more experienced you are, the higher your standards become, the more expectations you have. And so that's how I pick my clubs. People are saying to me like, man, you could work at every club on the circuit, like how do you even pick? And a lot of times it has to do with like these intricate details that matter to me. So if the DJs are easygoing and they'll, you know, collaborate with me to figure out what kind of lighting works best for me, and I don't even have to remind them, and I tip them quite well for remembering, and then they don't tell me like not to tip them. There's a lot of amateurs in the business.
And you know, it's a good thing you're talking about all of this. I don't think the mainstream folks are in the mainstream. They know all the logistics.
Nobody does,
that go
and most new dancers don't
into
even
the
realize.
Clubs, you know, like the lighting and feeling a certain way.
I was really inspired by Sharon Stone in the movie Casino. She did a lot of like money folded up, handshaking, greasing everybody's pockets to keep them all working for her.
Yeah.
And I realized really quickly, like, this is what I need to do because I want the standard up here, and everybody who's working with me might not have been trained to care about that.
Yes.
So how do I get everybody working together and doing their job the best that they can? Because then we're all going to make more money, and that's why we come to work, right?
Exactly. Do you find like there's a camaraderie?
There is and there
amongst the
isn't. Like
girls?
it really depends on where you're going. Like overall as a whole, I can feel that coming each year slowly right now. Like over the last 10 years, it's been improving from before the last 10 years. So that's really great for me. I love it. But I don't know that I can say it about each and every club. Like, it just varies so dramatically everywhere you go.
Yeah.
The management changes constantly. DJs play a huge role on like just how happy the dancers are. And if you got a bunch of dancers who aren't that happy, who are not in the best management, you know, they're going to be less likely to become friends.
Yeah.
Right? It's all about just that supportive team energy, right? Yeah.
So Whitby was one place in
so unexpected.
Southern Ontario.
So recently, so unexpected.
What are some of the, you don't need to give the names of the clubs,
Yeah,
but what are places in Canada and
so
just
I
a
don't
touch
spend
in
a lot
the
of time on
US?
the West Coast. The West Coast is operated in a very unique manner compared to the
Okay.
rest of North America. I don't have a lot of experience about it, so I don't really want to talk much about it, but just for your listeners, Alberta, BC, those clubs are all operated through agencies, and you have to work with an agency, you know, under their expectations. And since I am an independent artist, and I have been for a very long time, I just don't feel attracted to that concept. So more recently, in the last couple of years, I've been spending my time in Ontario and Quebec, and in Sarnia, Ontario, down south.
Oh, wow.
I've also recently just decided it's the Florida of Canada. So
Oh, you're kidding. Oh my gosh, I got
the
to
beach
go
is
there.
clean, and it was like 32 degrees in April. I'm like,
No
wow,
way.
this is exciting. But I also, I will touch on this, have like sort of like a love affair with the province of Quebec, and I'll tell you how that happened. I was sitting back just at the end of COVID, you know, and recognizing that all the clubs had scaled back. A lot of clubs, not locally, but a lot of clubs in the mainland were only open 2, 3, 4 days a week. And when you're a woman who's dancing and you're not necessarily doing, you know, the hotel work opportunities that exist within the industry, that's another conversation. But competitively, you know, you need more shifts to work to make a living, right? So if the clubs are only open at 8, 9, 10 o'clock and they're closing at 2 or 3 a.m. if we're lucky, it's not a lot of hours to make a living in a hard-hit economy with a lot of competition. And I don't mean aesthetically from a performance standpoint. So, like, I said to myself, okay, so what area of Canada, because I was strategizing out of, like, sheer desperation, where is the largest population of clubs open the most amount of days and the most amount of hours? Like, where is that now post-COVID? What does the industry look like? You know, I'm just doing my research because I like to stay up on what's happening everywhere because it's forever shifting and changing, right? And I realized Quebec. So I said to myself, oh my God, Quebec is a huge province. Like, have you ever actually stopped and looked at it on a map? Like, this is, you know, a country.
Yeah, got it.
And so I don't speak French. This is terrible. I have got to get it together for the future of my ability to thrive in this business, because the most exciting thing for a really experienced dancer, or probably any professional really, is to be in new environments with new challenges, right? So I got on Duolingo and I got very focused, and I have been really, really determined to figure out French, because you can work in some Quebec clubs as an English dancer, you know, and it's not too difficult to figure out a hello, how are you, right?
Yes.
But there is a regard in Quebec where they expect it from you, right? And so I'm limited to how many of those clubs I can enjoy quite yet as my learning curve continues and I start to branch out. But it's so nice to have clubs that are open 5 to 7 days a week, 11:30, 12 noon until 3 a.m. because that extra power hour, you know, out here in Newfoundland, for the listeners, legally all the bars are only allowed to be open. Are you aware of this? You don't stay out late, do you? I'm not sure if you know about the hours of operation. So George Street, you know, you're only allowed to serve alcohol until 2 a.m. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's 3 a.m. Really interesting. I've never found this anywhere else. So Quebec is open till 3 a.m. every day of the week.
Every day.
And that last hour in a strip club could be the difference between you getting your bills paid or not. Like, the economy is not doing that well. So we have to really get our hours in, right?
Yeah, and you mentioned something to me that I was unaware of, the dancers. when they're in the club, they've got to pay fees
Yes.
up front to dance.
And so every day
And-
of your life is a professional gamble. And
Yeah.
so, you know, when clubs are making the accusation that we're not committed enough, or like, you know, that some of the dancers are lazy, I've heard that happen, you know, well, no, it might actually be because she can't afford to gamble that day, right? And so the fees don't change from season to season, which I struggle with. You know, if I'm working in low season versus high season, why are my fees the same? I think they should look different. I don't mind the fee. I don't mind renting the space, but it depends on how much the fees are based on how many customers, you know, the club itself is generating for us. Because
So
you guys got to provide us with customers
what's the
who are
range?
spending, right?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So-
So it's anywhere from no fee at all, depending on the clubs,
Okay.
and you know, sometimes they'll even make special allowances for the dancers who are making a big effort, who are going on stage and putting on really impressive shows. Because, you know, for people who haven't been to strip clubs, some of the dancers put on a show, and some of them do the zombie robot. And there's not really any criteria regarding that
Yeah.
in the clubs where you're just an independent contractor. Now, when you're working with agency clubs on the West Coast, they have to have shows. So there's a very big difference in the club cultures based on that, right? So sometimes the fees can be up to $100, $120 cash up front. Now that's if you're coming in really late.
Yes.
And so I also respect the clubs for charging higher fees to give us the privilege of coming in late. Because when you work in the bar industry, for all bar industry workers, and you're in there all night every night, like, you don't really have any time for life. So
Not
let's say you and I
really.
wanted to go to a concert and go have some drinks and stay out late after, but, like, you know, I still needed to actually work that day, like all the other people in the world. It's nice to have the privilege to be able to maybe pay a higher fee to be able to still come in and work. Because sometimes when the economy's not doing that well, we're not making anything from open until the last hour of the night.
No way.
Yeah, and that's hard on the
nothing.
psyche. So, like, that's where the drugs and alcohol come in, you know, if you want to touch on that.
Oh my gosh.
How
yes,
can you
we
sit in an
will.
environment not being paid, having to get naked for strangers for like 6 hours before you even generate your profit? It's really hard on the psyche.
This
Something
is.
I've mastered, but they
Yeah,
don't teach
yeah.
you how to do that when you start
Well,
dancing. And so that's
exactly.
where a lot
And-
of the problems come in.
And
right?
we'll get into how you mentor some of
I
these
try to
young
every
girls and
opportunity if I
teach
can.
them about saving, look into the future, right?
yeah.
But hey, my darling, why don't we take a quick break?
Yes.
We're gonna just get ourselves together, get some water going
Yeah,
here,
I wanna hear some
and
music.
we're gonna come back. So why don't we hear Rupee and Tempted to Touch?
Yes.
To all the ladies in the dance, I lose all control when I see you standing there in front of me. Your style, your clothes, your hair, your flair, woman, you look so sexy. The way you whine and the way you dance and the way that you twist and turn your waist leaves me wanting, leaves me yearning, leaves me feeling for a taste. Before the end of the night, I wanna hold you so tight. You know I want you so much, and I'm so tempted to touch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. Yeah. To all my ladies in the dance, I don't even know your name, little woman, I don't even know your age. But there's something about you, girl, when I see you whining in front of the stage. Please forgive me, please excuse me, but there's nothing else that a man can do. I can't help myself, little woman, I just need to be next to you. Before the end of the night, I wanna hold you so tight. You know I want you so much, and I'm so tempted to touch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little a woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. I wanna feel you, I wanna squeeze you, I wanna hug and kiss and caress you. I wanna love you, I wanna touch you, and place someone else above you. I wanna feel you, I wanna squeeze you, I wanna touch and kiss and caress you. I wanna love you, I wanna hug you. You know, woman, I wanna wings of a love you. Before the end of the night, I wanna hold you so tight. You know I want you so much, and I'm so tempted to touch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. Before the end of the night, I wanna hold you so tight. You know I want you so much, and I'm so tempted to touch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I'm inside your clutch. Tempted to touch, tempted to touch. A little woman, man, I need you so much.
Parkinson's disease. It starts with tremors and weakness, then takes over your life. 100,000 Canadians have it, and more will get it. A friend, maybe, or your mother. That's why Parkinson's Society Canada provides education and services for people with Parkinson's and money for research to fuel the quest for a cure. Help us ease the burden and find a cure. Join us as a volunteer or donor. Call 1-800-565-3000.
Listen up, Junior. This is the king of your world, the commandant of cool, the Ayatollah of Know Your Rolla, telling you to tune in to CHMR Fridays at 1 p.m. for Ring Rust, Atlantic Canada's only source of wrestling news radio, with fanboy Mark Jabroni on 93.5 FM CHMR.
This is Brad, your helpless host from the Weekday Prepper Club, which you can hear here Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. on 93.5 CHMR FM.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Are you feeling stuck in your current music rotation? Feel like you're searching for something new and don't know where to start? Let us set you up. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Christina.
And we're the hosts of Blind Date on CHMR, a show where you meet a new album and we pay the bill.
Every Monday, we take turns picking albums for the other person to ultimately see if it's love at first listen.
Join us for all the fun every Monday night at 9 p.m. right here on CHMR 93.5 FM, Newfoundland's only alternative.
You're listening to Don't Touch That Dial.
It's my turn. Campus and community radio stations are committed to fair play. We want to hear your voice. Visit this station to find out how you can volunteer, meet inspiring women, play women's music, attend training sessions, and develop skills for media careers. Play fair, tune in, and drop by this station. Be the change you want to hear. This message was brought to you by Women's Hands and Voices, an initiative of the National Campus and Community Radio Association. Check out our website at ncra.ca/women.
Every second, someone flees their home due to natural disasters. The Arctic ice that regulates our planet's weather is vanishing. That means floods, famine, and more are on the rise. But there's a simple solution, and you have the right to know. My name is Parvati. Please join me in creating a healthy future with MAPS, the Marine Arctic Peace Sanctuary. Get involved at parvati.org, parvati.org. It literally means the world.
Hey folks, welcome back. This is Caribbean Connections and I am your host, Sarojini. we have here live and in person in the studio Chelsea, aka Mermaid, erotic dancer and holistic entrepreneur. And we are hearing about her journey, not only as a dancer, but we're gonna also hear about her holistic entrepreneur life, how she got into it. And folks, I want to tell you all, her Instagram account is Holistic Stripper Chef. So if you go to that, you're gonna see Chelsea there, and that's HOLISTIC and CHEF. So Chelsea, welcome back. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling so good. I love that song. It was transporting me back to the time when it first came out. It was really popular in the clubs.
No kidding. And when I picked it, like, I didn't know all of this. So what era are we looking at with Tempted to Touch?
I think it was early 2000. I don't know exactly the date off the top of my head, but yeah, the girls loved it. It was on nonstop. It's still being played to this day. Like, it's a very popular dancer song.
Oh my God. And some of these songs, like, well, you listen to the lyrics, right? Tempted to Touch.
Yeah,
you know?
No brainer.
Well, there you have it, you know, and I'm like,
you're a natural, you're hired.
Yeah, I'm like, I like this song. I'm going to play it. It goes with our theme here, right? So listen, we kind of stopped at about what's happening in the industry, but what I want to switch to now, we've got about 8 minutes left of this first hour, but folks, don't go away. We have more with Chelsea in the second hour, but we can kind of clue up this first hour, and I want you to tell us how you are now to the young girls coming in. Like, you're more like a mentor, or like a I'm
definitely an influence. They're paying attention. I try to be careful with the term, like, saving the girls. Like, I've stepped away from that role because it can get me into hot water, you know, because sometimes they'll want your help in one moment and the next moment they won't. And if they have people in their lives who don't want them being rescued, then I can get myself into an unsafe situation. So I'm pretty mindful of that. I keep to myself more. I'm a refined woman now. I'm doing things a bit different than I used to. But I'm definitely a powerhouse on stage, and I'm sure there's a lot of influence happening with regards to, like, how they think about their carrying themselves, and they're reaching out to me and wanting to hear about all the other clubs, because most of the girls, you know, are limited by transportation or children, or, you know, feeling some intimidation to go take on clubs with more competition. There's still a lot growth needed in the industry as a whole, right? So a lot of the girls don't have the courage to leave where they are and go find a better situation.
Yeah. What's the youngest age you've seen in the last, say, 10, 15 years coming into the club? You were 14 when
I was 14 when I was hanging around in strip clubs. Probably younger than that, if I'm being honest. But I was 16 when I started dancing.
Okay.
I don't really know, because I know that there are underage girls who slip in under the radar, but like, we don't really know. And you know, that it's funny because now, like, I'm 42 right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You look like 25. So listen, you gotta tell me what I need to drink here. You gotta give me the smoothie.
You look like you've got the recipes too.
Well, thank you.
So more recently, I've been dancing in Quebec a lot, and in particular in this area that's only 30 minutes from Ontario. And so you have the 18-year-old boys coming over for their birthdays. So here I am having to dance for 18-year-olds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. A lot of my girlfriends really struggle with it, but eventually, you know, I would talk them into coming for a visit, and they would have a great time.
But they think you're a lot younger than your age,
but they don't.
right?
They actually prefer me being older.
Oh,
so yeah, like I have
a
little joke. It's kind of naughty. Do you want to hear it?
Yes. Well, you know the range.
During my dances, I'll say to them, "How old are you?" And I started doing that because I realized I have the power when I ask a 40-year-old, a 50-year-old, an 18-year-old. When I look at them early on to the interaction and say, "How old are you?" Then they're like, you know, and so the table has been turned. If I don't bring up my age right off the hop, then they'll kind of look at me at some point because of my tone and my experience and go, how old are you? And that can make a woman feel insecure, right? So I've learned how to channel that power of the conversation. Anyway, so they'll tell me how old they are, and they'll be enthralled with my age when I then turn around and tell them, because I'm in control of that energy at that point.
Right,
and I'll clap my hands and yell. I know my other dancer friends are tired of listening to me in the VIP, because they'll celebrate me. They'll tell me how excited they are that I'm so much older, and I'll yell, "Thank you, Pornhub."
Are you serious?
And that's what's happening, right? There's cultural evolution that's been happening in the years that I've been in the business, and older women were not celebrated 20 years ago the way that they are now. It's very, very different, and I think that porn has a lot to do with it.
My goodness. So these young 18-year-olds,
they're being exposed to things that they weren't when I was 18.
And I mean, they're loving it.
Yeah,
that
they are loving it.
You look like 25, but they're loving it. That
no, they're far more excited when they find out how old I am.
Well, that's what I was going to say. They love it that you're 42 when they do find out. Oh my goodness.
So I try to tell older women who are interested in getting into the business, like after their kids are grown up and maybe they've had a divorce, like they're thinking like, oh, I could never do that. And I'm going, actually, you can, and I'll show you how.
Yeah. So, Chelsea, you do you find the clientele that's coming in, is it from a certain segment of the economy, or you don't need to give names or anything?
That varies so
what
dramatically. It depends on the industry from town to town, right? Like wherever people are making the most money, those are the people who are coming to the strip club. So whether it's oil and gas out here, or up in Quebec where I was, there's like 3 mines very close by. Like those are the people who have more like quote unquote disposable income. No income is disposable, but people who can spend on their wants and not just their needs, because not everybody can afford entertainment, and that's where we fall into that section, right? So, but the age ranges have it's gotten younger and younger. Younger people did not flood the clubs when I was 20, the way that they do now.
Yeah. Well, do they check IDs?
Yeah, the clubs are very diligent. Last thing they want to do is lose their liquor license, right? So for the most part, we all believe that everybody is definitely of age.
Yeah, I understand. So, hey, guess what? We're coming up to the second hour. So we're going to have everybody sit tight, take a little break. We're going to hear a super song, which is one of my favorite songs. And then we're going to have a bit of a break, listen to some news and all of that. And then we're going to come back for the second hour. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited.
All right. So, hey, I love this because it's called Miracle Worker. And my love, you are the miracle. So we're going to play Miracle Worker by Super Heavy.
Now this one reaching out to all the lovers who might be thinking of breaking up. Or maybe even making up. Check it.
I missed a part of you. I can't get back.
Don't be a silly Millie. I'm always here for you. Through the thick and thin, not just because we argue.
See, I wanted to be true, but I can't do that.
Why not what's stopping you? Don't be preposterous. I've got a lot of love, not just a lot of lust.
If I only were so full, I'd be loved back.
Well, that's your own opinion, and you're entitled to it. I'd be lost in oblivion if we don't go through it.
There's nothing wrong with you. I can't fix. I come running with my little bag of tricks. In an emergency, I'm very well prepared. My scalpel, mask, and gloves don't ever get too scared.
Ooh, you're a miracle worker. Ooh, you're a surgeon of love.
For my medical condition.
Ooh, pave my way to fix me up, and I promise I'll be back again. You work your miracles on me. Your melody was fresh, it touched my soul. Ooh,
Invigorating and refreshing and interesting, and it feel like
my heart was drowning in stress, but you brought
recast you from the mold. A brand new beautiful woman will blossom from the
You're a miracle worker, yes you are. You're the surgeon of love.
I'm a medical condition.
Make my way to fix me up. But I promise I'll be back again if you work your miracles on me.
That you there, Damian Marley, Dave Stewart, A.R. Mick Jagger, Josh Stone, the rubber dub version. Imagine, I mean, think about it. Reaching out to all the lovers, pick up yourselves. And I'm Brother Gang Marley, by the way.
Work your miracles on me.
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.
This is a CHMR Top of the Hour news break.
I'm Maggie Fenton. What's happening on campus? Today, the Side Hustle Showcase is happening at the St. John's Community Market. Side Hustle Showcase is a pop-up market featuring Memorial University students who are building businesses, launching creative projects, and growing side hustles. Each student has their own booth showcasing everything from tech services to tasty baked goods. Side Hustle Showcase is happening today, July 10th at the St. John's Community Market from 3 to 6 p.m. Admission is free, so come out and support your fellow students. In local news, today the provincial government announced that they will be investing $250,000 into the Memorial Centre for Entrepreneurship. The center fosters entrepreneurship at Memorial University by serving as a launch pad for students interested in starting their own business. Steve Crocker, the Minister of Industry, Energy and Technology, lauds the center's work as strengthening our economy and positioning Newfoundland and Labrador as a hub for entrepreneurial excellence. These new funds will be used to deliver core programs and coaching, to increase outreach through student ambassador programs, and to further embed entrepreneurship across the university community. From the CHMR Sports Desk with sports from Harold Hardiman. In Major League Baseball yesterday, the Toronto Blue Jays lost 2-1 to the Chicago White Sox to end their 10-game winning streak. The Jays are off today and will play Oakland in the next series beginning on Friday in Oakland. In Euro Cup women's soccer yesterday, England shut out the Netherlands 4-0 and France defeated Wales 4-1. Today it's Finland versus Switzerland and Norway versus Iceland. In Challenge Cup men's soccer last night, Holy Cross shut out Paradise 4-0, Feldians and CBS tied at 1-1, and St. John's shut out Portugal Cove St. Phillips 1-0. Tonight in Jubilee Ladies Soccer, it's Feldians hosting Paradise and Holy Cross hosting St. John's. The Scottish Open Golf Championships are on this morning in North Berwick, Scotland. There are 5 Canadians competing: Aaron Cockerill, Mackenzie Hughes, Nick Taylor, Corey Connors, and Taylor Pendrith. In local arts and entertainment news, the Newfoundland and Labrador Folk Festival continues tonight at the Ship with Nuit Francophone. Listen in as Francophone artists sing in their native tongue. Acts like Les Carrières, Porta Poutine, and Adrian House Band make this a performance you don't want to miss. Nuit Francophone is happening tonight, July 10th at the Ship. Doors open at 9 p.m. and covers $15. Now here's your weather according to Environment Canada. For today, mainly sunny, high of 22, except 26 inland. Tonight, a few cloud, fog patches developing overnight, low of 10. For tomorrow, mainly sunny, increasing cloudiness late in the morning, fog patches dissipating in the morning. High of 22, except 27 inland. And for tomorrow night, cloudy, low of 12. That wraps up your news break for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. I'm Maggie Fenton. Have a great day, and thank you for tuning in to CHMR FM.
This has been a CHMR Top of the Hour news break.
Run it! This one the hit, yo. Ladies Sarojani. Bless up everyone. This is Jordan Ben from Jamaica here representing for the most, the host, Lady Sarojani with the Caribbean Connection Show. Hey, Power 93.5 FM CHMR 11. I'm another criminal, so get on your certain. But let me tell you though, if you never know, I'm an island man with an African culture. No drugs, no in my bag.
Hi, this is Vinod from New York City, and you're listening to Sarojani on the Caribbean Connections.
When we dancing, hey, you are my king, I'm your queen. We don't have nobody in between.
Live from Toronto, this is DJ Eruption. You're listening to the Sarojani from Caribbean Connections. Peace out.
Then you hold my bumper and grind, slow, deep in.
I like I let go, yeah. Your bumper is a magnet. I stick on like a magnet. A magnet.
Yeah, it's magnetic. Join Sarojani on Caribbean Connections, Thursdays at 1. Walk through the sands with poetry from our great leaders and academics. Jive with us to soca, reggae, chutney, and calypso. Get your current cricket results, meet special guests, and more. Every Thursday, 11:30 Eastern, 1 p.m. Newfoundland time.
Baby, magnetic, that thing just sticking on, sticking on, sticking on, sticking on me.
Hello, hello, my beautiful people. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe we are in the second hour. Hey, Chelsea, welcome back again.
I'm having such a good time.
Aren't we? And you are such a natural.
Thank you. So are you.
And we were, thank you. And we were talking about synergy. I think we've got
yes, that's
this
my
good.
favorite word.
That's your favorite word. And you know, in the second hour, we're going to talk for you how important that is, right? But I want folks to know that we have live here in the CHMR studio, broadcasting live from the campus of Memorial University in the today, right? Beautiful sunny city of St. John's in Newfoundland and Labrador. And we have got Mermaid, aka Chelsea, here in the studio, erotic dancer and holistic entrepreneur. So this second hour, we're going to focus on the holistic entrepreneur segment. But why don't we open up with Kevin Little and Allison Hines, folks? And this is Turn Me On, Kevin Little and Allison Hines.
You know it is. You know we go.
For the longest while we're jamming in the party, and you're waiting on me, pushing everything right back on top of me, yeah. But if you think you're gonna get away from me, you better change your mind. You're going home. You're going home with me tonight. Let me hold you, go caress my body. You got me going crazy. You turn me on, turn me on. Let me charm you, go right on me. You got me going crazy. You turn me on, turn me on.
When I get a lot of rest, tonight. She say, man, I go fight. We don't see that we back on, that's right. Walk up like when I fight.
One another wrong a bumper cock sky high, whining hard on me, got my python hollering for mercy, yeah. Then I whisper in her ear, so I harder, and then she said to me, boy, just push that thing, push it harder back on me. So let me hold you, girl, caress my body. You got me going crazy. You turn me on, turn me on. Let me jam you, go wine harder on me.
right. Walk on highway like white.
Hey boy, you wanna wine with this bitch and girl? Oh yeah. Come on, wine on me, boy. For the longest I'll be jamming in the party, and I'm whining slowly, pushing everything right back on top of you, baby. But if you think you're gonna get away from me, you better change your mind. You're going home. You're going home with me tonight. Let me hold you, caress my body. You got me going crazy. Turn me on, turn me on. Let me jam you, boy, wine all around me. You got me going crazy. Turn me on, turn me on. One and underground bumper cock sky high, whining hard on me, got my eye turned, hollering for mercy, yeah. I wanna whisper in your ear, whine harder. Oh, boy, just push that thing, push it harder back on me. So let me hold you, boy, caress my body. You got me going crazy. Turn me on, turn me on. Turn me on, go whine harder on me. You got me going crazy. Turn me on, turn me on. 'Cause that's hug me, kiss me, squeeze me. Hug me, sing caress me. Hug me, kiss me, squeeze me. Hug me, kiss and caress me. For the longest time we're jamming in the party, and I'm whining slowly, pushing everything right back on top of you, baby. But if you think you're gonna get away from me, you better change your mind. You're going home. Is that so? You're going home with me tonight. So let me hold you, boy, caress my body. You got me going crazy. Turn me on, turn me on. Turn me on, go whine harder on me. You got me going crazy. Turn me on, turn me on. So let me hold you, boy, caress my body. You got me going crazy. Turn me on, turn me on. Hug me, kiss me, kiss me. Hug me, kiss and caress me. Hug me, squeeze me, squeeze me. Hug me, girl, and kiss and caress me. Hey, 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 oh, yeah.
All right. Oh my gosh, that was Turn Me On, Kevin Little and Allison Hines. And Chelsea, off air, you were telling me this is another popular song.
Yeah, like your playlist is on point.
Oh my God, I am so happy. And I picked it not knowing that they're still playing this
When these
in the
songs
clubs.
came out, they were non-stop at the club all night long. And to this very day, there's at least one dancer in most of the clubs that I go to who are they're still dancing to it.
No way. Hey, man, let me give myself a pat on the back. So listen, we were, and I want to bring this up again. We were talking about synergy. And for you, this is a very important word, and it's very important to you. Tell me why.
It is my favorite word. It has been for a really long time. First of all, it was like a cartoon as a child on Gem and the Holograms, for anybody who grew up when I did in the 80s. Also, just collaborating in business is the thing that makes me the most happiest. Like I'm thriving when I'm able to experience some synergy with a colleague.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, my go-to for avoiding the pressure of alcohol in the business, which is everybody's number one question, is kombucha. And I don't
kombucha.
know, are you familiar with kombucha? Should
Tell
I tell
me
you what
about it, my love. Go for it.
Kombucha is a tropical fermentation of tea. And Synergy is the line of kombucha made by a company called GTS Living Foods, who I believe were the pioneers of the mainstream movement of kombucha in North America. So although every town that I go visit, they often have small breweries that are making their own local kombucha in order to get a clean option that doesn't have an ingredient called natural flavors, because it's the furthest thing from natural.
So what goes into it then?
It's
Tell
a
us.
fermented tea, and they use fruit to flavor it, and and that's it. And there should be nothing else in it. But sadly, a lot of the kombucha companies kind of coming into the game, they're putting things in it that I don't know if they even realize is not an ideal ingredient. So I am staying loyal, like I always do, with the pioneers of the kombucha company. Synergy is the line. And so my favorite ones are mango. I should have brought us some wine glasses.
Oh my gosh,
and
you know I love mango, right?
I'm telling you, like I keep telling these clubs, like, you got to get this on tap because, like the Natural Vibe downtown, they have their local brewery on tap.
Wow.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Kidding.
And so if you're somebody who doesn't want to be on energy drinks, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, students, this is a great, ideal, holistic option. And so it's giving you the probiotic benefits of yogurt, for example. So it's really an ideal option to avoid alcohol because it is fermented, so it's like 0.05%. It's very, very low alcohol.
Gotcha.
It's not really an alcoholic beverage.
Yes.
And it could really replace, the jitters you're getting from all those terrible additives that are in energy drinks. So some of the clubs that I work for are gracious enough to let me bring my own Synergy in and store it. And so I'll go to the bar and get a wine glass and fill it up. And so when I'm approaching clients with a full drink, they're not going to try to aggress me with shots and other drinks and stuff. So the pressure is a big struggle for dancers. So dancers, who are looking to not be partying as much, this is a really great piece of advice for them. Have a cup in your hand that's full because people are going to offer you a drink if you don't have one in your hand.
So is this what you drink mostly at the
this
club?
Is what,
you bring your own, right?
This literally transformed my taste buds. When we're eating food, our taste buds are telling us like we're getting a message to our brain from our gut bacteria what we should be craving. And so when you start eating fermented foods like kimchi, sauerkraut, and drinking kombuchas, you'll actually find that you start craving fermented foods, which I believe is at the core root of mental wellness. So that's a whole other enormous conversation.
And this pivots us to traveling dancers, and we mean the dancers like yourself who go from town to town, city
being
to
on the road is tough.
How are they eating well? And again, the accommodations, you don't have to go into great details. I don't want you to get into trouble, but to me, how are they?
They vary dramatically everywhere we go. So, to decide where we're going to work, those are the details we need information about, right? And so a lot of times these clubs, they're not even on Instagram. They're really old school, so we can't find out in advance, like if there is accommodations, what the accommodations look like, what the prices are going to be, because you've got your floor fees at work, plus your accommodation fees. Now you've got to figure out how to eat healthy, and you're going to stores that may not be carrying things like kombucha. So I'm going in and like making relationships with the managers in the stores, and like I'm pushing and pushing and pushing.
Oh
for
yeah,
change.
I can see it
everywhere I go. Like I put the extra triple padded bra on the day I got to make sure I get this done, right? Because if I'm on the road and I can't access healthy products, how am I going to live, right? So it's a huge struggle. Some of the clubs are gracious enough to give us free accommodations or at a very low cost. And sometimes the accommodations, a lot of people wouldn't know this, are actually in the club versus being 10 minutes away at a dance or house, quote unquote.
Is it above the club then?
Sometimes it's above, sometimes it's below. It's just very different everywhere you go, but it's definitely stuff that the average person doesn't know about, right? And so for me personally, I love being in the club. 99.9% of my coworkers would disagree. They like to get off the premise and be somewhere else because they may not be like as enthralled with the experience as I am, right? But I find it incredibly nostalgic to lie in bed sipping my kombucha with my wine glass, listening to click 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 the clicking heels. I love it. I love it so much. I can't get enough of it.
But speaking of heels, oh my gosh, girl, you showed me photos of how many inches?
Yeah, mine is 8. Mine are all 8 inches. It's called the flamingo cut. Those are the thigh-high black boots I had in here.
How
one time.
are you walking and dancing?
People keep asking me, I'm getting older, so am I going to stop wearing the high heels, right? And so I'm always trying to explain to people, the platform in the front of the heel is a mirage. So I'm going to demonstrate here with my hands so you can see. When my toes are flat on the ground and my heel is lifted in the air, that's a really hard arch. It's really hard. So women who aren't dancers, they're actually really doing it in high heels. Once you add the platform, you see my toe starts raising and the arch starts balancing out. So in fact, the 8-inch stilettos, because of the platform in the front, aren't actually that big of a challenge. So it's balance. It is a challenge, but the arch-wise, with regards to like back problems and stuff, actually isn't that big of a deal.
So where are you ordering these from? Because you can't
online,
really get them.
And that's another thing that drives me crazy. There are no stores selling stripper shoes anymore post-COVID. So the sex stores and or independent like stripper shoe stores used to be a thing, but having COVID where everything went online, now we can't access them. So imagine these cities dying for workers who finally find a way to locate them and get there with no marketing, no accessibility to learn the information about the clubs. Then they get there and they're working and their shoe breaks, which is obviously a common hazard of the workplace, and there's no tools. So how do you get workers without the tools? Right? So in the USA, at some of the top dog clubs, they actually have merchandise shops in the club that sell the shoes. And isn't that genius? Because I can take the customer shopping. Right?
Yeah, but they don't have that in Canada.
No, I've never seen it in Canada. Now, it could exist in Alberta. Let us know, listeners. If any of the dancers who are listening have seen it, because I've never seen it anywhere, and it would make perfect sense. It would also help them make new dancers, because clubs are very hungry for creating new local dancers that they can depend on versus the traveling dancers who aren't a priority for some clubs because they know that we're going to keep moving on to the next best place, right?
Now, when you go to a new club in the new province, city, or town, you're there for quite a few months. You just don't go for a week or two, do you?
I get in a lot of trouble for that. My social circle of support tell me that I should not stay in clubs as long as I do because I am very opinionated and very experienced, and I want to see the standards raised.
Yes.
So I don't hide it, and that can really annoy clubs. So I am often being told that I should stop staying for a whole season and that I should just stay for a week or two and continue rotating.
But what do you want?
For
what
me
is
personally,
best for you?
I don't personally like rotating that quickly because I can't get settled, and I'm sure you can relate to what that would look like for you, right? Like I don't want to be rumbling through all my bags trying to get organized. When I go to a strip club accommodation, I settle in. Like I've got steam cleaners, art, fruit baskets, like I've got everything. Like I'm not going to be living a day of my life not being comfortable. Sometimes I paint the rooms. Like I'll give it a fresh coat. Like wherever I'm staying, I'm gonna make sure it's a great environment for me. So personally, I like to go seasonally because there is a low season and a high season at every club because of industry and how things work tourism wise and whatnot.
What's the high season?
Like for Newfoundland, for example, right? Summer is high season.
Like now.
Yeah, and January is low season, right? So the clubs have to strategize how many dancers they hire and what's going on. That like things look very, very different. So I got it in my head that I would be so clever to travel full time and always be in high season. But that's not a very good reset plan.
I hear you, girl.
I'm on vacation right now enjoying some rest.
Oh my God.
Because you can't be in high season all year round.
I know. But listen, this also brings us into
avoiding burnout.
And also why you got into making healthy foods and creating Flavour Junction, which we are going to focus on all these delicious meals. And you mentioned to me earlier that you started cooking just off the cuff for girls, like way back when.
Way back.
About
I still get messages like recently from people going, have you ever thought about being a chef? And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So back in like 2004, I was bringing in a lot of really great meals because I started meal prepping for myself because I realized it was going to help me keep my stamina up, right?
And healthy meals, you said. Healthy
I needed to get energy, and I started researching, and I realized that, nutrition was what was going to get me through these incredibly labor-intensive nights during high season when the economy is thriving. We are like working really hard, like immense physical exertion, right? So I started bringing in dishes for my break mid-shift to energize up, right? And the other girls were so excited about the quality of the food I was bringing in. They'd come over and start like picking at it with their hands, like while I was eating, because strippers are very entitled creatures. News to that if you didn't know.
Good to know.
So I was like, get out of my food. And I would be very confrontational about it because it was my survival strategy.
Yeah.
So I looked at them and said, like, listen, if you want me to bring you one tomorrow, give me $20 now and I'll bring you one tomorrow.
Awesome.
And so I wasn't really trying to promote myself at all. Like it was just, I was a great cook and people started seeing it, but I wasn't really looking at it like that.
Yeah.
I was just a young girl with lots of money going to the store, buying high-end ingredients because as a kid, while I was growing up with my lawyer mom, I ate at 5-star restaurants. So I was trying to suffice my restaurant needs by recreating at home myself.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming into work with so many containers that the managers and bartenders had started asking for some. And I've got 5 containers up to my nose walking in trying to balance all of these containers of food.
Right.
And eventually, not overnight, I stared enjoying the fact that I was, quote unquote, making back my money. And it was based on them not paying us anymore because early 2000 we were still being paid for shows. So they stopped paying us and they started charging us as freelancers. There was a shift in the industry as a whole. All the club owners decided to do that. So I was making back my money off of the club, and I was also making my money back off of the naughty girls who were offering a lot more than we were supposed to be and making it very difficult for me to make money. So I had to work 10 times harder as time went on. And so I really enjoyed the fact that I was making back my money. I even started driving them at one point. Because I thought I'm going to turn my animosity around and just make some money off of them instead of being so bombarded by what was happening with my sales.
Oh, absolutely. And that led to the creation of Flavour Junction.
Flavour Junction.
Right?
Flavour Junction was established because eventually I did go to culinary school because of peer pressure. I had a lot of peer pressure to go to culinary school. And our final was supposed to be about one specific region. And I put my hand up because I always have something to say.
Of course. There she goes.
And the chef was so annoyed with me, and I did not care. And I said, can I please do a fusion? Because I'm having a difficult time selecting one region. It's like picking one man. This is really difficult.
Oh, Chelsea, that's
another conversation.
That's another entire show.
So he yelled at me and was like, "Oh, this is preposterous." This was the Gordon Ramsay Hell's Kitchen era, so he was trying to interact that. This is not a real cuisine, you fool. And I was like, Wayne's World, I'm not worthy. And so after I graduated and I finally was at the point where I was going to start my own business, I dreamt up the word that replaced the word fusion because I did feel like fusion was a trendy term and that's why he didn't respect my point of asking.
Right.
And I found the word junction and decided Flavour Junction was the absolute best name of my business because I'm not working on one type of cuisine.
Right.
And even though he didn't get it, I knew that being in a very multicultural GTA area growing up near Toronto, that it made no sense to not, think of the future of food, which would clearly be a fusion junction of food.
But you were ahead of yourself because now, like when you look at these cooking shows, like you said, Gordon Ramsay and the like, I mean, it's all about fusion.
Exactly.
Am I not right?
No, exactly.
Oh my goodness.
So I started my business because my daughter came home from school one day and very abrasively yelled at me for continuing to work for all of the other restaurants in the area and said, like, what is wrong with you? It's time to start your own business.
So just for the gap for our listeners to know, you took a break from the clubs?
Yes, I went to Suburbia for love.
Okay,
I was told, I would like you to stop dancing. You're worth more than that. That's the common narrative to trick us into quitting dancing. You're worth so much more. You're too good to be a stripper, Chelsea. And I believed it because I was young and impressionable and in love. And so I went into culinary. For about 3 years, I worked really, really hard in a lot of the top commercial kitchens in the Burlington area. And I learned a lot, and I had a lot of confidence, and I knew what I needed to do, but I hadn't quite figured it out because I was kind of in survival mode with the amount of hours I was working for the little pay that I was getting. It's a big transition going from being a top dog stripper diva to a line cook. Right? It's a big transition. Yeah.
That's a whole new
it was
game,
really tough
really.
not being treated like somebody who had the experience level that I had in general in life, right?
Yeah. It must be a bit discouraging as well, right?
That's the least of it.
So, hey, I'll tell you what, we are going to take a short break. And why don't we give it up for Beanie Man
Yes.
and Chevelle Franklin? And this is Dancehall Queen.
She's a dancehall queen for life, gonna explode like dynamite, and she's moving out of sight to check out my shop, a place like dynamite. She's a dancehall queen for life, gonna explode like dynamite, and she's moving out of sight to check out my shop, a place like dynamite.
You so full of etiquette and you so clever. You still have to make a you design to be the dancer. If for me alone, I would have turned you in a me lover. Girl, you want me near me, want to knock you with me hammer. Then make me get back and drop ya, mass ya. First time me see you, me da walk in a maca. No me see you when me want to burn up in a fire. All up in a front like a thinking filler with a girl ya wine. She look like mama killer. One touch me, it burn me like pepper. But you the DJ out on me Allah. Chevelle no want forever, you Allah.
She is the dancehall queen for life, gonna explode like dynamite, and she's moving out of sight to check out my shop, the place like dynamite. She's a dancehall queen for life, gonna explode like dynamite, and she's moving out of sight to check out my shop, the place like dynamite.
Just a go on for the dancehall queen. Who already brown or the one all of it. Hell about the house when Miss Lady come in. Then everybody starts screaming, singing. Where the girl come from, nobody don't know. She's a devil angel and she's a go-go. Is this girl human and she's a yo-yo? Ask me, I don't know, but all me know. When me get up down African star, me see bus, me see truck, me see bike, me see car. Night time come and video light it turn on. Somebody start to alarm, can't
Watch me
keep
now,
calm.
she can conk any session with a cute face and create enough heat in the place. Try not to touch a button. If you touch a button, shall I try and do something? Go bird, for me not stop say so. Go bird, to the rhythm where I show. Go bird, to the place where I go. Go bird, she can conk any session with a cute face and create enough heat in the place. Try not to touch a button. If you touch a button, shall I try and do something? You just go girl, girl. She's a dancehall queen for life, gonna explode like dynamite, and she's moving out of sight, and I'ma jump it down like dynamite. She's a dancehall queen for life, gonna explode like dynamite, and she's moving out of sight, and I'ma jump it down like dynamite. I miss a go bird, for me not stop say so. Go bird, to the rhythm where I show. Go bird, to the place where I go. Go girl, I miss a go bird, for me not stop say so. Go bird, to the rhythm where I show. Go bird, to the place where I go. Go girl,
All right, folks. Oh my gosh, that was Chevelle Franklin. Well, Beanie Man featuring Chevelle Franklin. And hey, Chelsea, you just told me that this song is still being played in the clubs.
Yeah, well,
right?
there's a newer version. I think it might have been about 15 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I might be off on the dates.
Yeah.
Beanie Man came out with King of the Dance Hall, and that was
my
a big
gosh.
hit in the clubs.
So that this is a lot older then.
For
right?
sure, the
This-
inspiration came from that song,
Oh
though.
my gosh, I can't believe this. Now we're gonna like sort of continue on the same trajectory. We're talking here about your awesome business, your holistic business of Flavour Junction. And I was asking you off here, we also in prep yesterday, we talked about this. How did you promote Flavour Junction back then?
It was
Tell
all
us.
word of mouth at first. When I moved to Newfoundland, I realized, hey, I'm a mainlander. Nobody's going to hire me as a personal chef and invite me into their homes until I prove that my food is substantial. So I started making it and delivering it like from my home. And it took off in the downtown core, through the club as well. I was selling it at the club. And my roommate at the time, who was a young up-and-coming DJ on George Street with a very big following, also from Corner Brook, so she had most of the island on her social media. And she was young and vibrant and hip and like understood the power of social media marketing more than I really realized yet, right? And she came into the kitchen while I was preparing live, and I didn't even understand like what live meant. And she's like, "We're live on Facebook, Flavour Junction. Like, tell us what you're preparing." And that was really like a huge surprise to me. I was very nerve-wracked by it because I'm like, I'm in it cooking. I'm not thinking about being on camera. And after that, it just exploded. And that was really my aha moment, recognizing the power of social media and marketing and how crucial it is, right?
And I want to list off a few of the dishes that you've made in the past to give people. And I got this off your website, and I hope I'm saying some of the words correctly, but I picked some ones that I can say
I'm
correctly.
so curious what you picked.
Okay, so here we go. You have made, well, it's a combination of like what we say, the international cuisine and also the fusion. And I picked sweet potato hash, mood bomb.
Oh, well, I'm always looking to improve my mood, so the ingredients that I'm selecting are based on the nutrients we need to stay happy, right?
And of course, jerk shrimp, field greens, and mash. Oh my God. Curry chicken and wild rice. I know you love the curries. The pirate platter. What is that all about? I'm curious.
I just really like to do a big combination of the local seafood, whatever access I have seasonally at that time. And I focus a lot on root vegetables now. I've actually moved away from rice. That was a little while ago. I really credit root vegetables for keeping a flat belly, and that's important to me. Having the energy, to, like I said, to get through like crazy nights. For me, rice is a little heavy and bloating, and root vegetables speak to me. Now, we're all different. We have different bodies, right?
Well, listen, what are some of these root vegetables? Because I know a lot of women, that's their struggle.
Yeah, the potato has been demonized. We need to stop demonizing the potato. The nutrients in all of these roots are worth doing a little Google for yourself so that you can educate yourself, right? Just do me a favor, anyone listening who's interested in getting healthy. Type in turnip health benefits, sweet potato health benefits, white potato health benefits, and you quickly see that these are all the key nutrients that we need to not only look sexy, which everybody wants to do, but also feel happy. And that's what's really lacking right now.
Absolutely.
People are really needing to get in
and
tune with
you
that.
made a good point. Like you said, which I wouldn't have thought of, that mental health starts in the kitchen.
Yes, it does.
Why did you say that?
Well, I try to explain it to people who don't really have that awareness, and they're very confused by the concept. With regards to a vehicle, you cannot drive a vehicle that has never had any maintenance with no fuel in it up a hill. It's not going to work. And so that's what's going on with a lot of people, back to avoiding burnout. That's like a huge priority for somebody who's really focused on lifestyle, and which I am, and why I've had the success I've had, right? So it's just really important to choose your food based on nutrients. Like, what are you getting from that food? If it's in a box, it probably isn't as healthy as the whole food. And even the wellness industry, sadly, has a lot of corruption in it. So if you're picking up a product that says a whole bunch of stuff on the front of it that makes you think it's healthy, that doesn't mean it's healthy. There are a lot of lies going on. So it's really getting back to basics and finding out what seasonal whole foods are in your region and creating with that, instead of trying to pick a recipe you like and copying the recipe to a T.
You know what I struggle with? Like, I used to love oatmeal, like in the winter months especially, and I still do.
Smoothies are tough in the winter.
I know, because it's cold, right?
Yes,
so when I look
agree.
outside and I see like a blizzard, and I feel so nice and warm, I may go to oatmeal on the stove, make it myself with some sugar, like do the whole thing, protein powder, cinnamon. What else do we put in there?
Can I challenge you? Can you consider seeds instead of protein powders For example,
Oh,
raw,
seeds, right?
unroasted pumpkin seeds have the highest, leanest source of protein out there.
No way, yeah. So what would you recommend for, like, you talked about maybe stepping away from rice, coming from the Caribbean. Rice
I know,
is
I'm
such an
hurting you.
important
I know I'm
part,
hurting you.
But I am willing to change.
I made
a
you some
little
mashed
bit.
cassava sweet
Oh, yeah,
potato
listen,
today.
we
And I
gotta
thought,
talk
I'm
about
such a bad person. I didn't bring her any rice.
No. But listen, you made a delicious meal for us. So after the show, we are gonna go outside
In the
here at
sunshine.
Mud in the sunshine. It's still nice and warm, and we are going to indulge in. Tell us what you made, please.
Our feast is jerk chicken. I did a little brining the night before as well, so it's got a really
Okay.
nice texture to it. And a sweet potato cassava mash and some barbecue plantain.
Oh my gosh, barbecue plantain!
I love barbecue plantain because there's far too much seed oil, aka canola oil, vegetable oil, palm oil in plantain. And plantain is my go-to, actually, in case you're curious. Plantain is my go-to on the road. It is the most cost-effective, storage-friendly. You know, it lasts for weeks as it becomes brown. It's more sweet. And if you're food budgeting and your focus is not on plantain, you're confused.
So, do you find it easy to get plantain? Like some of these, I know you are super healthy, and girl, you look like 25, and you're
Thank you.
you're 42. So I want to know your secret, and I think everybody else.
I don't want to be 25. I want to be 45 and
But
having
you
a tight
look-
fit, amazing body.
you
We have to walk
do.
away from this obsession with staying younger
I
because you know
know.
what? It's a misconception that we have to, lose our attractive ways as we age.
Yes.
No, like we just need to focus on how to defy age, and I think it's an attitude and a lifestyle. And if you can balance both of those, you can continue to
And
defy age.
eating being a big part of
Absolutely.
that lifestyle. So, what other things do you do to stay healthy, fit, and awesome looking like
Thank
you are?
you.
You're
The number
welcome.
one method everyone can apply to their diets if they haven't yet, no matter what their lifestyle is, no matter who they are, where they come from, is to remove seed oils from their diet. Now, I'm going to point this out quickly that seed oils has a political buzz, if you will, right now. And I want everybody to forget about that. Because I was preaching anti-canola 18 years ago. YouTube came out in 2006, and that's when I learned that the heart-healthy label on the box of canola oil is a falsity. So, moving into 2025, now we're hearing no seed oils, no seed oils, no seed oils. But this was something that was already common knowledge. Now I'm jumping on the seed oil trend buzzword bandwagon because I want to connect the message to more people than not. But it really is back to canola oil, in particular in Canada, because it's a Canadian product, right? Canola oil was actually not called canola oil years ago. It's called rapeseed oil, and they rebranded it to make it more appealing. Canada canola oil. Yeah. So if you're eating any of your foods that are made at the grocery store, you can't even buy olives. You can't even go to the like the preserved bar in the grocery store and pick up olives, in canola oil. Start reading the labels and you'll see.
Oh, so what are the olives?
The olives are in canola oil. And seed oils, canola oil, peanut oil, vegetable oil, all these different types of oils are very inflammatory. So we want them out of our bodies permanently. So don't buy preserved foods of any kind that are made with canola. And you can find it in very unusual ingredients like almond milk. You can find canola oil, vegetable oils in products you would never expect to find it. So,
I wouldn't think that.
Yeah, stop reading the pretty cover with all the marketing jargon on the front.
Yes.
And don't worry about the nutrition label because that's the government's stuff. Just go right to the ingredients, which is always a very small, with black letters, difficult area to even locate on the back of a product. But you want to find the ingredients. You want less ingredients in a packaged food. So if you're getting 4 or 5 ingredients versus 30 ingredients, you're doing better. The first few words have that amount of ingredients in it. So like if sugar is the first or second ingredient, it means most of that product is made with sugar. So the closer to the beginning of the ingredient list the item is, the more of it is in it. But again, moving to whole foods.
Yes.
If you get some good healthy oils into your diet because you're preserving your olives in your own oil, you want to get a reputable extra virgin olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, ghee, beef tallow, that doesn't
Oh,
work.
so ghee is
Yes.
because in the
butter is
South
healthy.
Asian community,
Yes.
ghee is very
Yeah.
popular.
It's very
right?
popular. So don't get me wrong, I'm not repping the carnivore diet, but what I've done over the years is taken the pieces of information that I recognize are valuable from all of these different trends, and I've incorporated them in what I'm doing with my holistic cuisine, rather than jumping onto these mainstream trends that some of it does work for some people and not for others, you know. Like I don't disagree that a vegan diet may work very well for one person and the carnivore diet may work very well for another. But I think something we can all do is recognize what ingredients are highly processed, toxic, inflammatory foods or drinks. And if we just remove them from our diets, you'd be very surprised how fast your pants will fall off and you'll need a new pant size without incorporating any new added exercise. And that's something the general public does not understand.
So one of the things you mentioned earlier is maybe switch up rice for the root vegetables.
I think root
right?
vegetables are the star. That's how I feel for my body. That's what works for me. Obviously, out in Newfoundland, you know, how can you shun thy turnip?
I know. And beets. Lately, I've been having a lot of beets.
You know what? I'll tell you a memory I have of being a 18-year-old dancer and looking at this stunning European dancer who was probably in her late 30s, maybe even 40s, who looked like she was about 24. In the corner of the change room, this was every night, she would bend down on the floor, crouched against the wall. She wouldn't even sit on a chair. She was so antisocial and such a hardcore hustler. She wanted nothing to do with what's going on in the change room. And her hair was always sweaty, and she was so voluptuous. She was just a sexy rocket. And she'd be in the corner pumping beets into her mouth, like beets, 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 beets. Okay, done with the beet snack. Back to the club. And she would just go all night and she did not stop. She was so inspiring.
So maybe the
beets were her secret.
Like,
stick with the beets, girl, because she had it going on.
I am going out today and I am buying more beets. Let me tell y'all.
Quickly, let me dive back into the rice. Now, before I demonize all rice like a complete hypocrite, I switched all my pasta, not to gluten-free pasta, but to brown rice pasta. And for some reason, when I eat the pasta, like I can eat like 2 heavy bowls of pasta, like I'm making my cream sauces with coconut milk. I do not feel fatigued from it whatsoever at all. But a tiny bowl of regular North American wheat pasta is very inflammatory and fatiguing and can be causing allergies and sensitivities. My daughter was just diagnosed with celiac disease. That was a huge awakening.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. But she's grown up with Flavour Junction, so she understands how to avoid wheat in the first place. Now, all these years, I thought it was a gluten sensitivity. There's some new data coming out that's not surprising given the history that I'm familiar with. It's actually the glyphosate pesticide that they're using on the quote-unquote cash crops. So wheat, corn, soy, these are all the big mass-produced cash crops. We wonder why it's a part of the Canadian Food Guide. Influences. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So now I'm wanting to move away from that, not only because of the gluten concern, but it's actually the glyphosate. So how hard is it for all of us to afford organic food? It's a lot, right? But if we can move away from the cash crops that are doused in glyphosate, which primarily is wheat, corn, and soy, we're doing ourselves a great justice. So everyone's struggling with IBS, like all of these digestive illnesses are like skyrocketing. The culprit is the glyphosate pesticide. So if we move away from that, we're really, really, again, back to just getting the inflammation out of our diets. That's what makes you lose the weight. So I eat a lot of brown rice pasta, and I believe that it doesn't make me feel fatigued or bloat me, as I said, because it's ground down into the flour before it's made. So it's almost like it's helped you digest the weight of a regular wild brown rice would normally be like heavy.
So what if you eat, like, instead of, say, we eat basmati rice, if we do eat rice, and I do try to
I love
keep
it.
It's
tasty. I cannot lie.
I know, especially with curries and butter chicken. So, and then that's what...
But I'm going to tell you quickly right now, is the naan going to get you into a bikini?
Oh, I
No,
don't
it's not.
think so.
So, we all got to decide what our priorities are, right?
So what if I switch it up for brown rice or wild rice? Would that be a healthier
I'm honestly
option?
not in the rice world anymore. I have stepped away from rice other than brown rice pasta. So obviously it's brown rice. So if you're going to go any rice, maybe go brown rice. But I can't even speak to the subject because it's just not my area of expertise anymore. I really have to say it's been at least 7 years I've stopped prioritizing rice with my meals, and I can feel and see the difference instantly.
Yeah, you know, you must be right, because I have this withdrawal symptom if I'm not
and when I
getting
get
my
one bite of it, I start shoveling it into my mouth like a lunatic. Like there's something going on there for sure. But back to your oatmeal, I didn't touch on that because you need a warm breakfast, right? And so I understand that allure, but I think the oatmeal, does it make you feel bloated when you eat it?
It makes me feel full. Yeah, that's what it makes me feel.
There's like you're not feeling like lean and tight when you're eating oatmeal, because it's covered in glyphosate. So if you can get organic oatmeal, that would be a really smart move into a better direction. But also, I'm doing a lot of chia pudding. Have you ever had that before?
I don't think so.
Okay, so
chia pudding.
when you're soaking chia seeds in a coconut milk, a clean coconut milk that doesn't have bad additives in it, after a few minutes it soaks up the liquid and becomes like larger, soft, like gelatinous. So I'm using that as a late night treat to avoid like a rice pudding craving. You could potentially have it in the morning warmer with some strawberries, maple syrup, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and you're really starting your day for success. And what we eat first in the morning, as you know, I've spoken about this before with my smoothie obsessions, that I do put cayenne pepper in sometimes out of sheer desperation. Northern Quebec is cold in the winter.
Oh my God, I gotta start doing that.
It's hard though. It's really, really hard. Like sometimes we just can't do it in the morning. We need something warm. But it's really important to think about whatever time of the day your first meal is or your first drink is of the day when you're breaking your fast, which is why it's called breakfast, because you're breaking your fast, right? Whatever you put in your mouth that at that moment sets the tone for your cravings for the rest of the day, and that's really important to think about.
And listen, folks, this is very important information, Chelsea, because sometimes people wake up and right away they go for like the bread and the peanut butter and the oatmeal and stuff like that. It's destroyed us.
Yeah, it's really destroyed our health.
And you mentioned to me about the lemon, right? And I've been putting lemon juice into my smoothies to make it
lemon preserved
longer.
Smoothies. Yeah, so a lot of the convenience-minded people, they don't want to go healthy because it's too much work.
Yes,
it's much easier to say it's too expensive than to admit it's too much work. And that's something I'm recognizing the general public struggles with.
Absolutely.
But once you learn the techniques to apply for your meal prep, it becomes quite effortless. And so when you want to prep your smoothies for the week because you've invested in a larger blender, I rep the Vitamix. It's an expensive investment, but I think it's worth it.
Yeah,
and you put lemon in your smoothies, then you don't have to worry about it not lasting for the week. And you can easily throw it in a to-go bottle to go. So if you get stuck in the car with a group of friends, they're all going through Tim Hortons, everyone wants to know what your order is, you're holding your smoothie, you don't have to worry about those influences, right?
No. And you know, it's so funny. The other day, I had a craving for a donut, so I said, okay, I'm going to run into this Tim's and see what they have. And so I did buy a donut, reluctantly, I must say, because I looked at everything and it was really unappealing. And I bought this donut and I went outside. It was really nice, and I sat down and I'm biting this donut and I'm chewing on it, and I am not enjoying it.
Oh, what a disappointment. You're going through all that stress, like, that's it, I'm going to get my donut.
I am like, what is wrong here? And it's because I haven't had a donut in
so long. You know that I ate my first donut in like 20 years last week? Yeah.
No way.
I had no intention of giving them a shout out right now on the subject because it's still a little naughty for me, but I'll admit it right now.
Well, guys, we're not like promoting Tim's or anything.
We're going donut here, so we might as well. There's a new bakery in town called Nourish Bakery.
Yes.
And they sell gluten-free donuts.
Yeah,
so I had a cooler.
Right?
Yeah,
yes.
And it was incredible. It's not something I would eat on a regular basis because, you know, the seed oil is a concern, right? And so,
of course.
But bakeries prioritizing gluten allergies is a step in the right direction. So I'm celebrating them.
Oh, listen, thank you for that. But why don't we take a very quick break, and we are going to be back to clue up Do you know we're almost at 2 hours?
Wow.
Do you really not see? We can talk all afternoon, right?
We can,
but
for
I
sure.
want to have that food you made for
Definitely.
us. So listen, let's take this quick break for some PSAs and a couple of promos for shows. We're going to be back, clue it up, and then we're going to be on our way, all right? So hang tight, folks. Stay with us. Don't go away.
If you had kidney disease, it might sound something like this. It could look something like this. And it would probably feel something like this. That's because kidney disease has few warning signs, and so for many people, it goes undetected until it's too late. So don't just do this. Go to kidney.ca to find out if you're at risk, because the sooner it's treated, the better. The Kidney Foundation of Canada. We're behind you all the way.
This is the social media news. I'm your friend's kid brother. My classmate Jeff told me that immigrants are coming to Canada to steal our toys. Jeff also says he has a tattoo, but the tattoo artist made him swear not to show anyone. Jeff is so cool.
Social media isn't journalism, so why does our government give billions to social networks while Canadian newsrooms die out? Visit friends.ca to learn more. Authorized by Friends of Canadian Broadcasting.
Listen to over 500 radio stations from anywhere with Radio Player, the must-have app that's funny, well-informed, dominating the music scene at the gym or in the car. Enjoy every type of radio station, anywhere, anytime. Listen through your phone, Sonos, Google Chromecast, Google Home, Amazon Echo, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. Download the Radio Player app today. It's where radio plays.
Are you the kind of person who yells at the radio, "Don't tell me about the artist, I don't care where they grew up, just play the song"? If that's the case, then don't listen to my program. I'm Ivan Empia. On my show, Roots and Branches and Beyond, I like to explain where the sounds come from. So if you'd like to know a bit about what you're listening to, every Saturday morning at 11, CHMR 93.5 FM, music that knows where it's from.
Are you feeling stuck in your current music rotation? Feel like you're searching for something new and don't know where to start? Let us set you up. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Christina.
And we're the hosts of Blind Date on CHMR, a show where you meet a new album and we pay the bill.
Every Monday, we take turns picking albums for the other person to ultimately see if it's love at first listen.
Join us for all the fun every Monday night at 9 p.m. right here on CHMR 93.5 FM, Newfoundland's only alternative.
If you're a chronic nostalgic who loves the music of Newfoundland and Labrador, tune in to the Newfound Records Radio Hour on CHMR, Saturdays at noon. Join host Wayne Tucker as he shines a light on rare gems retrieved from the vinyl deeps and supplements the music of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s with a generous sprinkling of history and trivia. Relive all kinds of local music, traditional, folk, country, pop, rock, and everything in between. So whether you're a sentimental old-timer stuck in that vinyl groove, or a newbie eager to hear hard-to-find roots music of Newfoundland and Labrador, tune in to the Newfound Records Radio Hour on Saturdays at noon, where the unexpected is the norm.
All right, folks, here we are. Chelsea, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm having such a good time.
How you feeling?
Excited.
We are just doing awesome, you know? So listen, tell us about the takeaway on healthy living. Like whether we're on the road or at home, what's your advice to us wherever we are?
The number one thing people need to start thinking about is how to connect with the people who have the quality nutrient ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Stop thinking recipes and start thinking ingredients. So get on Google, type in honey farm near me. You want unpasteurized local honey, which is antiviral and antibacterial, versus the regular store shelf pasteurized one that has no nutrients in it. You want to Google beef farm near me, microgreens near me. And you'll be very surprised to find local producers who you may not have realized were your neighbors right down the street that you can and should be supporting. Because once you start getting quality ingredients, you're going to be getting more nutrients, right? Worry about the recipes once you access the sources of the food that you should be stocking your fridge with.
But I think some people do the opposite. They
do.
think of the recipe first.
They
and
don't
then
think about the quality of the ingredients
and
at all. Missing the whole point, kind of.
I
Right?
must say I'm guilty of that.
everyone
But,
is.
you know,
Everyone is.
you've also taught me to look at the ingredients that I'm using. Like, say, with my smoothie now, you've mentioned put the lemon juice in there, and it would help to preserve it because you make a big jug and you could have it for the week or a few days. You don't have to go back and make it every day.
And that's the hassle. No one wants to listen to a blender first thing in the morning, right?
Yeah, but also you put so many ingredients, like about, oh my gosh, 12.
Well,
I
everyone
think.
wants to know how I'm so happy. That everyone is always asking me, how do you stay so happy?
I
It's like
know.
I'm loading my mind with the nutrients it needs to thrive, right? So I want to get at you really quickly. I have the opportunity. I just thought of it. So your protein powder is
Right.
going to have a number of ingredients in it. So I really encourage you to lean into the whole foods for the protein. However, I have started using the blue-green algae spirulina powder. And I use that, if you'd like to do some research about it yourself, because there's a lot of information regarding how it cleans the blood, which obviously as we get older we want to be doing, right? But when you look at the ingredients on that bottle, there's only one ingredient. So that's a really good takeaway from this conversation. Get away from the products that have a big, huge list of ingredients. Even if it's called a whole wellness product on it, because as you read through those ingredients, you're not going to know which ones are actually inflammatory, because there are ingredients like pea powder, for example, which are not ideal, and people think it's really healthy. So
my
stop
gosh,
trusting the companies and start putting faith in yourself to make the decision to get closer to whole
And
food.
I mean, a lot of people are going back into the farmland.
That's what we
buying
need to do.
things
Yeah.
off the farm,
That's
which
what we need
is
to do.
healthier, right?
And finding regenerative farms where they're not using the crops that are causing inflammation. Because let's say you take the wheat and the corn out of your diet,
Right.
but then you go buy chicken and beef that's their diet.
Yeah,
So when we
yeah.
can find pasture raised regenerative farms where the farmers themselves can teach you as a client why the quality of their animals are that much healthier.
Exactly. Oh, my darling, can you believe we have come to the end of the program? My gosh.
Time to eat.
It seems like time to eat, and it seems like we just got started,
I
right?
know.
But before I let you go, I'm going to ask the coveted question, and I know you've probably heard this a lot. Why are you still stripping, my darling?
Oh, that is the number one question,
I
isn't
knew
it?
it was.
Well, it's because stripping is the epitome of humanity. And there's nothing that satisfies me more.
Oh, my God.
And I can.
You
So
know
why
what?
not?
I could not have said it better. And I mean, you take such good care of yourself.
I'm
your
celebrating my
mind.
hard work.
Yeah, your mind, your body, your soul. I mean, hey, if this is your passion and something you like, why not? It makes you very happy.
I've got to find somewhere to sprinkle this pixie dust. And I think the stripping industry is a great place to do it.
Right. And it's true. Every time I see you, you're always so happy and upbeat. And I'm like, what is she drinking? What is she
All the
taking?
dancers, the older dancers, they pull me aside and go, okay, so what's your secret?
Oh, no way.
Yeah, they all do. And it's always this like top secret undercover conversation.
Oh, they want to know, like, why
Any
you're
dancer
so
over
happy
40 at some
and
point will come and
healthy.
pull me aside and tell me, what's your secret?
No way. This is just amazing.
Because you can look good but not be happy, and you can be
Yes.
happy and not look good. And so why can't we figure it all out, right? And I think that's what we need to do as a collective.
Well, girl, you got it together. I got to tell you.
Thank you, madame.
Chelsea, you're welcome. You're welcome. And I really want to thank you for coming on the program today, Chelsea.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much
a
for
blast.
always welcoming me and celebrating me when I get home. It's the nicest thing.
Oh, my pleasure. And I want to thank you for accepting my invitation, for giving us, oh my gosh, this beautiful...
Stripper
these
juice.
Beautiful, Tanya. That's it. Flavour Juice and all the tips about healthy living. Oh my gosh, like I have learned so much, and I know our listeners have learned. So
I hope so.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I want to thank our listeners for joining us today. And Chelsea?
I was just going to thank them and remind them that getting into smoothies is your best next step.
Exactly. And I can't wait for us to, you know what? Go out there and have some good food that you just made.
Let's go.
We go sit out there in the sunshine. And I want to have everyone join me again next week, same time, same place, chmr.ca, Caribbean Connections every Thursday at 1 p.m. In the meantime, have a wonderful weekend, all of you. Stay well, stay healthy, be kind to one another, and above all, stay healthy, as Miss Chelsea Mermaid says, get that smoothie going every morning, right?
Right.
So why don't we take us out today, right? And Chelsea, once again, you know this song. It's Samantha Grant and Rock Me Body.
Yes.
Take care, everybody, and bye for now.
Bye.
Feeling to fat, I'm feeling to walk on, I'm feeling to carry on, cause they say that I am the so custom, I'm feeling to sweat, bring your body close up, I'm feeling to wheel and tumble, don't mind you looking like trouble, I'm feeling to rock my body, I'm feeling to rock my body, I want you to rock my body. Just keep dripping. I want you to carry on. So please don't fight this feeling, even though it's hot. Keep the waistline moving. Don't you ever stop, cause once is never enough. I'm feeling to rock my body. I'm feeling to rock my body. I want you to rock my body. I'm feeling it,
This is 93.5 CHMR FM.